take on this whole 2027 forces coalition, forces coming together to unseat President Tinubu, and because it's a democracy, so it is their right to try to do. But what are your thoughts about this? On the one hand, you know, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Governor El Rufai, even former Governor Rotimi Amechi, quite a number of, you know, heavyweights in there, Babacha Lawa, a lot of people. So what are your thoughts on the doability of this project for the opposition?
Well, thank you for having me once again. Well, first of all, if we are to go by history, especially what happened in 2014, you will see that there was an alliance or coalition or merger of different political parties. And at that time, it was a section of the PDP. Then you have CPC, you have ACN, ANPP, and even part of ABGA. They all decided at that time to sacrifice their own individual political interests for the common good of Nigerians, and then they came together, and then we formed what became the APC. And that is very necessary in the history of African politics of recent. And you have seen how it worked in Botswana, and you also see how it works in Senegal, where political parties came together, formed a coalition, came up with one candidate, and then challenged the ruling party and emerged victorious. But in the present time, you can see discordant forces from different political parties. They don't have that cohesiveness, that urgency of the need for them to come together, or they face a serious problem at the end of the day. Now, the SDP came up with a statement through its chairman, if I'm right. He said they are not ready for any coalition. You just have to join their party. Now, PDP too made their own statement. They are not ready for any coalition or alliance. And they are the biggest opposition.
Yes.
And NMPP, headed by Kwankwaso, also made that statement. So you can see these are the three major political parties in the country. And if each one of them can come out openly and say he's not ready for coalition, it means they are going to the battle with a divided house. So I don't think that a divided opposition can evict the ruling APC out of power. And the problems they face are clear, that they are not ready to sacrifice their own individual political interests and ambition. If you look at it, most of those who are raising issues are disgruntled, and the angry and discontent, the marginalized. But they are also necessary in coalition. But the point is that you see, you need that spirit of sacrifice for a coalition of forces to now focus on the ruling party to evict them of power. But they don't have it. And if they go to the 20s and 27 battle on this form, it's a clear victory for the APC and the president. So you cannot, first of all, start stabbing yourself at this very time, and at the end of the day, blame the person who won as a person that alleged that he has rigged election. What happened in 2023 was the same thing. Atiku led the PDP, and then Obi was in Labour Party, and there were problems in the PDP with the 5 governors pulling out, and they went with a divided vote, and Kwankwaso was also not part of it. So if you put the votes of Obi, Atiku, Kwankwaso, they almost doubled the votes of Aswaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. So it was that kind of fractionalization that led to the situation they found themselves. So if they continue on that path, the end result is very clear. So that is my little opinion on that.
And additionally, thank you very much. And additionally, there are reports, maybe commentators, are sort of deducing that an additional problem is the coalition is virtually divided along regional lines. There are those among them who are saying that, okay, the objective is to unseat Tinubu democratically. If that is the case, then that slot still has to be in the South. And there are those that, of course, are pushing for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to be a consensus candidate. How the other, I think those are the two main, my guess. Well, Obi is also in there. He was represented at the meeting of the coalition. I think those are the main, contestants in terms of seeking a presidential seat. So how much of a problem do you think that is? The idea of, well, if we're going to do this, then it has to remain in the South. And some people within that coalition saying that Atiku's ambition will be pushed.
You see, when you are coming up with a political equation like this, you have to factor so many things before you take the ultimate decision on what to do. Still going back to 2014, there was a consensus built around General Muhammadu Buhari, because that time the president of the country was a Southerner. So if at this very time here, Buhari spent 8 years in power, and then you have someone from the South that has spent 4 years in power. So a serious coalition that is conscious of the political traps and flashpoints in the country, and also is conscious of our history, will have zeroed in on the fact that let's all presidential candidates from the North, at least in this coalition, sacrifice their ambition for the common good of challenge, so that we can get a block vote from southern part of Nigeria. But if you are from the South and you don't like President Aswaju or his government, and you have gotten into a coalition, then the best way is for you to be more comfortable if the next candidate also comes from the southern part of Nigeria, whether he is Peter Obi or any other person. But now you are from the South, you don't like Aswaju, and then the options you are being given is for power to go back to the North for another 8 years. So how does that work? So at least a serious coalition will take cognizance of the sensitivity of our history and our own geopolitics, that here is a Southerner who spent 4 years in power, and that it is morally right to have another Southerner to challenge him, so that there will be a block vote from the South. But here we are. The options that seems to be tabled before them is that the person who can remove him out of power should come from northern part of Nigeria. So it is a sweet, bitter situation for people in the coalition. And how, to me, I feel that it is better for northern presidential candidate to at least, even those of them who are in the coalition, to sacrifice their own ambition for someone from the South to contest. And if they don't do that, we will end up in that kind of situation which happened before. You have a northern candidate against a southern president who has spent 4 years, and then it will be at the advantage of the ruling party to go around and make statement. 2027 is so close, but still so far. So it is important that the leaders of the coalition could have put factor this. But for the very fact that They are not even ready to all come together.
Yes.
And fight. Makes it a problem. And why is it so? Some of the ruling parties, or the opposition parties, feel that if they go into a coalition, many of those political lords and godfathers are going to lose their own positions. But if you look at it in 2014, the chairman of ANPP has to go, who was then became Minister of that is Abonda Onu, and then the chairman of PDP has to go, the chairman of ABGA has to go. They all agreed that they're going to have one party. But in this situation, if you read the lines of the interviews granted by leaders of the opposition, it seems that if you want to contest, simply join our party and contest election. And if that is the situation, it's going to be very difficult for the opposition to. Democracy allows coalition, it allows alliance, it allows a sort kind of merger. And in Africa, if you look at how strong a ruling party is, like the one we have in Senegal, the president Macky Sall has to be challenged by the President Abdullah, because the party in power now has to reach out to as many movements, groups, individuals, political parties come together, and then they were able to achieve their goal. But there is that kind of arrogance that join us or you shouldn't, we're not going to go along with you. For Atiku Abubakar, I think he is in one of his most complex period in his own political history, because the options are before him. He remains in a PDP where you have forces that are most evidently stronger than him in control of that party. And then, he leaves the party that has about 9 to 8 governors, which is the PDP, and go to a party that has 2 or 3 senators. And then he starts afresh. So for me, I think the coalition, if they want to make things easier for people that need an alternative, individual ambition need to be sacrificed. And I don't see the situation where Konkosu will come into an alliance with the SDP or Labour Party or any of these parties. So the major opposition party, the SDP, if there is any alliance, it should have been the leader of the alliance, because they are the ones who have the most of senators, most of members of House of Reps, most of governors. They're supposed to be leading the alliance, but look at the situation in which it has found itself. It's almost in a state of epilepsy or paralysis. So that one is gone. And the SDP, the chairman has made it clear that they prefer you to join them, because they knew that problems that have to do, they raised issues about problems of coalition or alliances. And then the NPP led by Konkoso have also made a clear statement that they will not join. So we may likely, this could play to the advantage of the APC and then see Aswaju be re-elected, and then they will start blaming each other for one thing or another while they will not blame themselves.